Unprepared teachers. We all know them, we've all had them. But how does it happen? What happens to a teacher that could make them so unqualified? And how does this incompetence impact the students?
I would define a good teacher as someone who listens and respects their students and gets that same respect back, and also just educates them in a space where they feel safe and comfortable. I think a good teacher would teach their subject with passion and with a lot of knowledge behind it, and I think good teachers connect their lessons to the real world through making the experiences relatable to their students, so that students can be engaged and interested in a topic even if it's not their favorite subject. No, I don't think homework is even necessary at all. I think a lot of times it can be busy work, and homework often just increases stress levels in students and makes them less capable of doing their work in class sometimes. And I think it's also an equity issue for kids who don't have the time out of class because they have to work or because they have to take care of family members. Homework just kind of puts more burden on those people, and so it makes it unfair. So I feel like classwork is really where teachers should be putting their focus on. I feel like some of my teachers have been a bit less hands-on with their teaching this year, and I felt kind of out of it and isolated from the subject material. I don't really know it as well as I should to be confident to answer questions or to really know it.
I personally think that he's a pretty good teacher, in that I kind of like the way that he teaches, and I know there's very little work and how he gives us time to actually work on it. I personally think it's okay. He doesn't really connect to the real world, but he does say that if we do good in that class, then we can go to a higher level of math, and I think that's the only way that he connects it in seeking higher education. He gives out very little homework, and some of the times I don't do it, but I'll still get a good grade in that class, so it's not it's benefiting me.
How did you feel about your classes today?
I felt pretty good about it. I think that overall I like to be as prepared as I can before I begin a lesson, and I think I was pretty good today. Off my game, sometimes I'll have a student correct me, and I think it's important to understand when I'm wrong and admit it, especially with math, and understand when I'm right and to defend my answers.
Right.
Develop a system that kind of prepares a student for college. So if you were to take a college class, what you would see is a significant amount of guided notes followed by work that you would work on your own, and that's kind of how I try to implement.
Who was your favorite teacher when you were in school, and why?
I would say it was Miss Cloud, who was also my math teacher. I took a 0 period after initially failing geometry. I had to retake it during 0 period, and I think that she really helped me understand the subject kind of by making sure that I was on task and kind of doing my work and doing what I was supposed to be doing in order to pass.
When you're teaching, how do you make sure that students understand what you're talking about or what you're teaching?
It's always reinforcement through examples. For example, to cover the unit circle, it's doing at least 3 or more examples gives a student an idea of what to do with the problems.
How do you connect your lessons from your class to the real world?
It depends on the class, but for classes such as Algebra 2, we do real-world problems such as modeling different situations, such as interest rates in the real world, and situations such as blood levels. That's a real-world application for algebra.
Can I ask a question about how you entered mid-year?
Okay, so I started in October. I had to prepare a significant amount of work for Algebra 2 and Geometry in order to cover all the concepts that I needed to cover and to make sure that my students were learning the material. So part of that was starting from scratch and scraping out stuff that I felt that was important in the very beginning, of the class, and then kind of increasing the difficulty as we moved along. And a lot of that in the beginning was difficult because I started in October, so there was a great deal of me having to connect with my students, having to establish myself as a leader in my class, and on top of that, creating lesson plans from scratch for all my classes. So in the beginning, I would get here at about 7 a.m. just to make copies for my classes in the morning, leave at 6 p.m. knowing what I'm going to do the next day, and it would be like that for about maybe 2 to 3 weeks when I first started, just because I began in October and it was a little bit hard to get my footing right because it was so in the middle of the year. But now I have a system where I'm pretty established and I don't have to stay a great deal of time after school. Like I stay till probably 4. Sometimes I do take work home. Sometimes I take work home for the weekends. I spend about 2 hours grading during the weekend, and then probably another hour during the weekend figuring out what I'm going to do during the week, like, just like the gist of it. And then a big bulk of my time is spent during the week kind of organizing and planning what I will be doing that week.